Hello, this is Adrian. I'm walking in the middle of this this big shopping center in Bangkok. It's called Mega Bang Na. It's a very sort of upscale big shopping mall. Now, as I'm walking through this mall, there's all kinds of interesting thoughts coming up within me. Mainly with regards to desire, just seeing things around me and going, oh, I want that, or maybe just wouldn't it be nice to have that. Of course, the prices are pretty high, and so I don't actually need most of the stuff that I'm looking at. And if I do need anything, I could probably find it cheaper somewhere else. So I'm not really buying much here, but it's interesting how all these desires within me are being stimulated without me necessarily being aware of it. And what's even more interesting is how those smaller thoughts of desire are sort of like the thoughts progress basically to the point where I'm like noticing myself starting to look at in my mind like how I can design my reality, like basically how I would fit all of the items that I see like into my home, and how I could, based on the money that I have, slowly accumulate these things one by one, and what would be the smartest way to do that. But all of that within the context of this end result that is me having this perfect life with this perfect beautiful home and all the most awesome stuff. And then I basically just started realizing I would pretty much like to live like a millionaire or even billionaire, but no, probably not billionaire. I think being a millionaire would be enough. And I mean, I'm not the only one. There have to be, most people must sort of look at it that way, because, one thing I'm noticing about this mall is, again, with the prices, I don't even want to fork out the money for a lot of the stuff here, and I know a lot of people here in this country make less money than I do, frankly. So I know most people around me, can't afford a lot of the shit, even more so that I can't afford the shit. So you also wonder, how are people buying things? And of course, it's no secret that a lot of people are in debt nowadays. Getting into debt is a big issue for a lot of people. But anyway, the main thing that I wanted to point out in this video is how ridiculous it is that we go through this whole process of setting up these beautiful shops that are totally designed to make you want to buy stuff, like it is with me today. And the same with the advertisements and everything about the marketing. Everything about it is so completely fake and contrived and beautiful and charming and impressing in its presentation, but behind that veneer it's actually quite a nasty thing, because they're really just trying to stimulate desires within you to try to get you to buy stuff so they can make profit off of you. And I don't know, the word that sort of came to mind is or the term rather that came to mind is people being held at ransom. It's like we're being, these things, these material possessions are being dangled in front of us, and it's you can't have it though. You gotta look at the price tag. If you want this, you gotta fork this out. And that's that given how much money people really have to spend on things, and based on that, how much security most people actually have in their life, that really is putting people in a tough position, so to speak. Of course, don't get me wrong, we obviously play our part within it, depending on how much we allow ourselves to be personally consumed by desires. But what I'm really just seeing within all of this is how unnecessary all of it is. It's completely unnecessary. I mean, it exists solely for profit in a world where we produce things in extreme abundance. I mean, we have machines doing just incredible work, and this, I mean, just the systems we have in place to produce products, goods, and services these days are extensive, and the benefit of that is not being stretched out to, you know, the people as a whole. It's being exploited by a very, very small group of people in this world. So there's no reason for any of this but to satiate the human beings', you know, petty desires for power and control over other human beings, and power and control in this world, in a world where ultimately you don't actually have any power and control. I mean, you're born, you have responsibilities, you're able to express yourself and enjoy life, but still within the context of those responsibilities. And then you die, and you pass on those responsibilities, hopefully in a responsible way, to the generation after you. So I mean, there's no such thing as actually having power and control in this world. So I mean, even the very thing that these few elites think that they're getting by enslaving everybody with consumerism, they're not even getting that. It's just an illusion. So, lesson for self, you know, where am I existing within illusions of wanting and desiring to have power and control in my world? Where do I think I have power and control in my world? I mean, the main thing that comes to me is money, and I mean, this is the real problem, people, is we are defined so extensively by money. You know what I mean? I mean, it would be curious to see some experiments on the psychology of when people simply believe they're rich or poor. Never mind actually being rich or poor, or what they actually have, but just if a person were basically brainwashed to be under the condition and impression that they are either rich or poor, and how they would act in their environment and interact with others accordingly. It is extensive. Anyways, I guess that's all I have to say for now. The more immediate lesson in all of this too is really looking at, again, what I actually need and what is just desires. I know for myself, I've seen that, you know, doing good work and basically doing things in this world that are meaningful, where you do undertake responsibilities and support others and just really work towards the creation of a better world, is much, much more rewarding than trying to build this perfect life where you have some kind of experience of wealth and dominance and power and control. I mean, that really is a fantasy. It's a bottomless pit when you try to feed those desires. It's never ending. And you know, when you actually go out there and take on responsibilities, you tend to forget about all those things. You tend to really see how meaningless that kind of stuff is. I mean, sure, everybody wants comfort, but if the comfort is disproportionate to your actual input and contribution towards making this world a better place, then there's always going to be some level of self-dissatisfaction. So, right, we need a basic income. We need a system that supports people unconditionally, where goods and material possessions and services and things are not hoarded and used to basically blackmail people, to control people, to enslave people. All goods in this world, all services, all technological developments, technologies, everything should always be shared to the benefit of all mankind. Because sharing is caring, and of course when you support others in your world, you support yourself, because you assist others in being better human beings, and in turn they are then enabled to support themselves and you and others as well. Thanks very much.